Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm really happy to see you on this call today because you are obviously the smart people. When it comes to our topic today, power styling, I call it always like a low-hanging fruit or a very smart and efficient way actually to up your presence and authority as a business professional. We do power styling a little bit different than other people, but I wanted to take some of the principles today and see how they apply to you. So obviously you don't have to go and implement everything I say today. I'm bringing you more perspective of how power styling can actually have a huge effect in your experience as an entrepreneur. So, entrepreneurship can be tough sometimes, as you know. So we spend a lot of time in front of the computer, and we spend a lot of time, going for income generating tasks and building content, whatever. And many times the personal appearances actually really suffer in the process. And I have to say, COVID didn't help. It really didn't help that in COVID, everyone sat and thought that's not now going to be the new way to dress. I almost had a fit, to be honest, when I start seeing that people now think, it's going to be the pajama party. And you get on the airport, people are now wearing like literally their gown and their pajama pants and stuff. And I just think it's really, I don't even want to say that it's not stylish. I just want to simply call a spade and call it uncool, right? It's like if you go back years ago and you looked at how people used to dress at airports, for example, they dressed properly to fly somewhere. They dressed properly to walk in the street and be seen. So I'm certainly not trying to get you to completely reinvent your wardrobe. I'm going to give you refinements and principles today that's not going to break the bank, that you can implement, that will make quite a difference. But before we jump into it, I want to give you a bit of history. I want to help you see where all this comes from. This is not just a shallow thumb suck, if you can call it that. It actually comes for centuries and centuries, and sits in the subconscious psyche or in the collective unconsciousness of the human race. So, something like a red traffic light, when it goes red, we naturally go stop. And when it goes green, we feel we can go. Now, with fashion and styling, those principles are embedded in our psyche as much as the colors in a traffic light. So not all of this is based on the way we do this or merely our perception or opinion. It has history and context to it. So a lot of people believe that we can give the blame or the praise, depending on which side you swing, to France in many respects for power styling today. And in other ways, we can give the blame and the praise to the United Kingdom. And the reason for that is two huge figures in history. And the first one would be probably the more known one, and that is King Louis. In the palace of Versailles. I don't know how you say it, Versailles or Versailles Palace, or how you say that. One of you will have the correct pronunciation. The Versailles Palace in France. And this King Louis was like, come on, Jeffrey, give me the pronunciation. I can't resist.
Yeah. Versailles.
Versailles.
Yes.
Versailles, right? In the Versailles Palace of France. Thank you. I see Jeffrey almost had a fit there.
Super nice.
The Versailles Palace in France. And I don't know if you people know it, but the parties there were so elaborate and so impressive that it literally changed the way we look at styling today. Our good King Louis was sometimes called Louis the Sun, Louis the King of the Sun, Louis the Grand, even because of his ability to, let me tell you, put a party together. And he understood what it meant to give people the opportunity to dress up and come to a party. And even today in that palace, which is something that, Jeffrey, the Palace of Versailles. Yeah, right. Even today, the palace actually host parties again in honor of King Louis parties and invite people there. You can actually go and do that. If you want to do something fun for yourself, go to France and go and attend one of those parties because apparently it's epic and people come there with the most elaborate ball gowns and dresses. It's fantastic. So go and look that up a little bit. It's actually a thing and it's something that you may want to get involved with. So then we had our Queen Victoria. We all know about Queen Victoria, you know, and how she dressed up and her elaborate gowns. And so she got a lot of people also to focus on fashion and style. And she was very smart in using it on herself for power styling. Not only the way she dressed, but the way she did her hair and all that thing really made people go, wow. You know, these people are inspiration. They don't only come with styling principles, they change culture. Because of the way they actually did things. And there's obviously many others, but a lot of people believe that power styling and, you know, luxury styling, or elegant styling, whatever you want to call it, did come in many respects from the royals. And so with the royals, this started to later in modern times express in luxury brands. So then after that came, for example, one of the big ones was like Mademoiselle Chanel, Coco Chanel, as she's known. And she really came with, you know, taking the medieval times and the royals and turning that more into something that people want to buy. So I'm going to go around and ask you what you have experienced so far in terms of power styling. Oh, let's make it a specific question. What have you experienced so far in terms of the way you dress and how people react to you? Anyone?
Yeah, I use it quite a lot in my brand or around me. Really, the yellow for me has been something that I've realized that make people really kind of energized and they get attracted, and it's almost a
Right.
magnet, you know. Kind of yellow shoes is like, whoa, no one wears yellow shoes. So it's kind of, for me, it was a real opener to see how people react to that color.
Yellow.
And as a
Didn't you
thing,
just do a post, Claire, with a yellow dress on? Didn't you just do something? I thought I just saw something. Wasn't there a post?
yeah, well, so I've just come back from Jakarta, so I did some videos with my yellow dress and my yellow shoes, and it's kind of, people are like, oh my gosh, you're wearing yellow, and it's really it's just quite funny how people react to that color because it's such a powerful color. People kind of straight away they look around and they find you. Wherever I am, I'm the only one in yellow. So it's a really powerful. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel energized, and that's the color I've always picked when I'm on stage.
Okay, Claire, I've just made you co-host. Do you, while we ask anyone else how any of the way they dress has had an effect on people, would you mind sharing that with us, one of your recent posts or videos? Because I want everyone to see what it looks like, because I thought it was stunning.
Do you want me to put a photo up?
That's great. A photo, or you can share one of the videos on your Facebook.
Okay, sure.
While you look, I'll ask someone else who's
Uh,
had an experience how people act or react different to them because of the way they drive. Jeffrey.
Yes, I used to wear a hat with flowers and a shirt with flowers during networking events, and I noticed that it helps people to open up. I found people are a lot more easy to open up when I wear colorful shirts and stuff like that. They feel more relaxed.
Do you have a picture for us? I've just made you co-host if you want to share too.
I try. Yeah, let me find it. Yeah.
Anyone else? Da, 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 da. None of you had a reaction from people based on the way you dress.
I've got the video. Shall I share it now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you see it?
Introducing Claire
29th of November to be in part of the PSA Spain and helping shape the future of professional speaking. Yes, we will be there together on the Saturday, and I will be talking about the 4 M's. Yes, 4 M's to focus your customer experience as a speaker. How do you deliver What does shaping the future mean? It means thinking differently. It means really widening and doing things that no one else is doing. This is how us professional speakers will be leading industries in the future. We'll see you then, Saturday, 29th of November.
You go, Claire. Look at that color on you. It really, really looks stunning on you, I have to say. It's like, it's not just quite yellow. It's almost give a gold feel to it, doesn't it? But a understated gold, not a screaming gold, you know? So, wow. Thank you for sharing that, Jeffrey.
Yes, I have it. Unfortunately, I'm not ready to share it, but let's
Why not, Jeffrey? All the things we make you do. And if you're going to keep on laughing like that, we're actually not going to get off this call until you share.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. That's the one.
I like the red carpet, I have to say. Gosh, Jeffrey, I love that. Look at you owning. Look how everyone is looking at Jeffrey. Those dance moves, Jeffrey, I have to say, maybe me and you should do a DJ gig somewhere. Where was this, Jeffrey?
This was in Frankfurt for a special party for French people and German people.
Oh, I mean, I'm surprised you invited the Germans then. So I thought you're going to stop with French people because all the parties are only for French people, isn't it? I love those parties. Look, I love it. I really, really love the individuality that comes through in your styles. And I think a big part of today's talk is to make sure that you can make use of power styling without necessarily losing that individuality. So if you're sitting here today freaked out going, yeah, great, there goes my, individuality. That's not what I want to achieve with this talk today. I want you to keep some of the individuality, but I want you to make you aware of certain things that will give you more authority and give you more presence and want to make people do business with you. So thank you to Claire for sharing that clip. It was really stunning. And Jeffrey, thank you for showing that. I really love it. I love the dance moves. I mean, I think, Circle of Excellence is turning into a bit of a fashion house. And one of these days, we're going to be probably an annual festival as well. Goodness knows where this is going, So it did came from, in many respects, from the royals. It went then over into the brands. And with the brands also, I think a lot of the fashion and the style and the elegance was in many respects inspired by the war. Because remember, in war, there's no glam, there's no style, it's hard, people eat out of cans. And so you get these opposite and extreme effects. So many times when people's gone through very tough times and they suffered, a way for them to deal with that would be to go the exact opposites and then go for glam and go for elegance and style. That's why after COVID, I've predicted one of the biggest and most glamorous eras we're going to see in a long time. Hollywood can step aside. And so many people has asked us about eventing and if that's dead. And I would say the answer is no. And so we see more and more people all over the world starting to step up again. It's almost as if the middle way has fallen out. It's always like people are dressing super common. Let's just call it a spade. And other people are really like extremely on the other side, So because of this effect of then we're in pajamas, then we're in the ballroom. So if you want to start something that allow people to power style, you'll probably have a very good effect right now. I think themed parties is coming back as well. In my heyday, I used to run a themed party per month and it exploded so much. I could have never actually comprehended it. But then already I realized that it's something people are just looking for an excuse to dress up. So now these days we've gone from the royals and we've gone from the big brands out there that for a lot of people is not affordable to the boardroom. That's where we are today. Now, today we are entrepreneurs and we're business professionals, and many of you on this call want to actually get the deal in the boardroom, and you want to use power styling in order to negotiate and make more profit. And that's why there's so much focus and research on power styling, because no longer is it just about elegance and about style and position in society. It now has become something that makes you more competitive in the working environment. It's something that can give you an edge when it comes to professions, and it causes for more money in the bank account. So there's actually studies done by Yale that shows us that if you are power styling in the boardroom, you will make more profit. The study doesn't even talk about more money, it talks about more profit. You'll make more profit actually if you power style in the boardroom, and that goes for men and women. In fact, the interesting part is you will even make more profit as a woman if you power style in the boardroom than what the guys will, probably because it's such a contrast and because it's so different from what was done before. I mean, that's why Coco Chanel is such a rock star amongst women, because she really made the feminine suit, if you may, very, very popular amongst women. And that wasn't fashion, it was a revolt. It became a movement, and fashion still does the same today. Then you look at people like Prince, who's allowed men to dress flamboyant. You know, Mike is very known for the flowers and the flower shirts that he wears and the shoes. I mean, James, you experienced him the other day again in his full glory, you know, with the way he likes to express and all that. And so, you know, the rock stars really gave men I almost want to say the permission to say, hey, let's go full out. I mean, Prince is known to dig into the closet of his then wife all the time. You know, he actually dressed himself basically out of the closet of his wife. And rock stars has come up with the zebra pants and the makeup and the cool shoes. So all of this is coming together, and it's having a huge positive effect for people. Now, what can you do about it? It's not. Thank you, Landi, for the lecture. It's all good. We understand it, but we want to know what we can do about it and how we can actually make more money. Now, I'm going to say one more thing, because I want you to understand that this is not just a fashion and styling talk. This is based on science, and this is based on research. And this is also not just about the money in the bank account. It is about your confidence. I mean, we've got 2 people on this call, and forgive me if I've skipped you, that's actually educated and qualified in styling, right? Can you put your hands up, please? Who are you? There she is. Diane? Karen? Yeah? Who else is a fashion stylist on this call? Right, it's definitely not what they are only, but before they hit themselves into the world of their other careers, they did educate themselves in fashion and styling, so they know what they're doing. When you get into a power suit or into a piece of clothing that makes you feel good, your confidence will go up exponentially. Again, this is not just a thumbs up, your hormones will change as well. So studies have shown that male hormones go up, testosterone increases with 20% when you get into your power suit or into any other attire that makes you feel powerful. And surprise, surprise, the same happens for women. So all our testosterones here increase. I mean, testosterone is definitely something women has as well. It's not something men has only. And but that's what happens. So if you feel that you're not confident, or you feel you're gonna have to make a big deal, or you feel you know, that you are in an unhealthy way comparing yourself to other people, when you get into that suit and that suit is probably styled and you step out, you literally have an hormonal effect. So now you're in a power style suit, so you already look good. Plus, you've got the benefit of, you know, your chances for the deal is much better. Plus, your confidence goes up because of what you see in the mirror. Plus, you've got a chemical change in your body because of the testosterone upflare, right? We've seen that in Claire, when she was standing there in a power pose with the dress on, she probably felt powerful, she felt beautiful, and then you can see that project in her voice and the way she speaks. And we also seen it in Jeffrey. I tell you, you have to have confidence to dance in front of people like that. It's not everyone who can do it. And so we actually get the same effect many times when we speak on stage. For those of you who speak on stage, just raise a hand here. Did you do anything on stage? So you get that same effect when you speak on stage. Many times stepping on stage, the adrenaline you feel is not the fact that an audience is in front of you, but it's the fact that you're in a power attire and that your testosterone has gone up. Okay, so with that, the first principle that I want to share with you is actually the principle of dressing structured versus dressing informal, right? So just quickly, there's a picture there of Andrea. Look at you, hot as hell. Look at that power pose. There's a classical example of what it can do to a person when they stand on stage. You looking good, Andrea. Do you want to tell us quickly about that a moment?
Yeah, that was an event that I put on. I only gave myself 4 weeks, but we pulled it off. We got 120 people in attendance, and that was an Advancing Women in Business event. And it was set up like a TEDx style with 8 speakers, 20-minute slots per person. And yeah, I quite like that dress. It's stunning.
You look stunning. Did you get
good? Stunning dress.
Did you get good feedback that day? What did people tell you?
Yeah, because if you'd seen what I was wearing the whole day that I was running around behind the scenes, I didn't look like that. And then I went up on stage and I looked like that, and everyone was just like, God damn. Yeah, so it's a real shift because everyone saw me running around in runners and, a shirt and a pair of jeans, and then I end up on stage looking like that. So, but that's a beautiful dress. That's got all my colors.
Gosh, you are beautiful, yes. Right? That's a beautiful, but you are beautiful. And I think that's a big part of today as well, is that many times it's power styling for me is not just about you grabbing authority and attention and having a presence. It for me is also about the enhancement of the features and the strengths you already have. You are the beauty, you are the presence, you are the authority. And then by adorning yourself in things that sort of make people notice, that for me is many times what really inspires me. So in that photo, Andrea, you are the beauty. The dress is just highlighting for people. And that's a really nice way to look at it. So the first principle, you're welcome, Andrea. The first principle is to really become aware of lines and know that lines is synonymous with structure. So you can use lines in order to power dress in many ways. I like to talk about the blazer, and I like to talk about having power lines here on your shoulders, because that will definitely give you authority. Now, for a lot of the women, they go, Landi, I don't want to wear a blazer. And then I'm always saying to them, you don't have to do this. You don't have to wear a blazer every single day of your life. I'm talking about moments where you have to grab authority. I'm talking about things like you're going in for the deal. In other words, you're doing the sales pitch today. Once you have the deal, you don't necessarily have to deliver on that in power styling all the time. You can tone it a little bit down, especially if you want to be more relatable. But as long as you want to make a deal, you want to be noticed as an authority, you want to be taken serious as an expert, and you want to actually make sure that people pay attention to what you say, you want to work with lines. You can use a blazer in a jacket like this. You can use shoulder pads under a dress as well. You can use shoulder pads under a shirt as well. And you can use other forms of lines as well. Another form of lines is to wear a dress that's very structured. So rather wearing a dress that's hanging loose. So you can see this jacket is like one of my travel jackets, because look how it can fold. It can fold up like this. So I'm putting the structure in this by giving it shoulder pads. So, but the rest of the thing is silk, But if you've got a structured blazer and the blazer is structured and tailored, or for example, you've got a trench coat that is really structured, or for example, you've got a skirt that's very structured, or you've got pants that's very structured, you're going to create that same linear effect. So, for example, what I'm talking about here is the material that you're using. The material, the harder and the heavier the material, the more structured the garment is, which is not easy for a traveler, because the traveler is always looking at things that can fold up, that doesn't crease, that can be used over and over again. But you want to ask yourself, what can I do to bring structure into my dress style in order to create that linear effect? So for women, they literally use it structured dresses. You can go and Google structured dresses, and you want to look at shoulder pads and bringing the shoulders a little bit up. And for the guys, especially for the guy who wants to be in a t-shirt all the time, other people's going to steal the deal. I blame the whole t-shirt and jean culture on the Elon Musks and the Steve Jobs, but people forget they're a billionaire already. They're already a billionaire. So they can go and stand there in their circus suit with their red nose if they want to, you know. They can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, you now have these billionaires that's walking around. There's a guy, I don't know, they call him like the Zeus or the Greek god or whatever. I've seen him online. He goes everywhere barefoot feet, and he's in his long, you know, Greek god jacket and his long hair. Now people follow that and think you can do business like that, but he's already a billionaire. And so you can't go and follow people and think you're going to get the deal who's already a billionaire. Many of you on this call is not a billionaire yet. So you want to actually make use more of the principled ways of doing this. So when you use linear structure in order to grab authority, you can mix it with some of your own essence and personality. So you can ask yourself, look, what can I bring in to make myself unique? And what can I bring in actually to make me stand out, but people still take me serious and I still have the authority? Now, here you have to be careful with too much color, because too much color screams creativity, but not authority. So if you've got a lot of color, you're going to find that people find you incredibly relatable, and people's going to chat with you quicker, and people's going to trust you as a buddy quicker, but not as an authority and as an expert. So how do we actually work with that? So what do we do in order to keep your personality, but also to have you have authority? So you want to start mixing and matching things in order to achieve it. So let's say, for example, you like a colorful paisley shirt, like James like that, Mike like that. Then we're sort of going to have to offset a little bit of that by having a very, you see the contrast, we're going to work with contrast, a very structured blazer over it only when you make your deal, because that will make people go, okay, so I see the personality, I see the flamboyance, I see the creativity, I see the relatability, but we're still dealing with a doctor, and we still want to be able to trust him as someone who has the expertise and the competence of a doctor. Another way it can be done, the jacket is the most powerful one, because again, it's in people's collective unconscious. It goes for females and males. It can be done with a jacket or with a blazer. Another way to do it is with statement accessories. Now, statement accessories is different for men than for women. You can probably cross over a little bit, but again, there's certain thing that screams, I know what I'm doing, and other things that tells people you don't. Now, you may look at it and go like, this is super shallow, right? How can people be so judgmental? That is how we all are. And I'm going to give you an example. Many of you, when you sit touch wood today and have a heart attack, and now you hear sort of there in the background, touch wood, you hear, oh, you know, this person is in an emergency, someone needs to save them, blah, blah, blah. Next moment, walk in there, the chick in her ripped jeans, red lips, red lips, false eyelashes, looks like a Kardashian, massive breasts. She may be the best surgeon in the world, right? Perception is going to make that person go, oh shit, can I please talk to the surgeon, right? So it's not because we're bad people, it's because of conditioning, right? So that same conditioning applies when you step into the boardroom or when you step into a stage. Once you have people's trust, you can actually unravel yourself. Then you can show them more and more and more. But at first contact and with first impression, you have to be very, very careful how they're going to remember you. Are they going to remember you as a clown, or are they going to remember you as an expert? It's tough, isn't it? It's tough because you only give them that first 10 minutes. Now, people are looking for experts, and we're in an environment now where people don't trust. So you have to find a way to position yourself with your power styling as an expert at first contact, but also help them to remember you. That's why I don't want to take your creativity away and your paisley shirt or your, something, or your golden dress, Claire, or whatever that makes you very, very unique. So what I'm going to recommend you do in order to not confuse you, I'm going to ask you to start with the basics, the essentials. So start with, what am I going to do to get people to trust me and an expert in my field? Start there. So, okay, well, I'm going to do the blazer. If you're a guy, you're going to go for a black blazer or a dark blazer or charcoal blazer. Blue means you're a middleman. Black means you're the CEO. It's that simple, If you want to do blue, it better be a very, very royal, deep blue. But the danger with the royal deep blues is they tend to lean towards purple, which put you in the category of being a spiritualist. So you can completely create the wrong impression because purple is the color of spiritual. Now, remember the difference here today. I'm not talking to you today about fashion tips. I'm talking to you about power styling. It's two different things, right? So don't confuse the two. So with power styling, with male and female, you'll always go for the darker colors, the charcoals. Women are lucky. They can go for beige, cream, ivory, or white, depending on what goes with their skin tone. And ladies, please, 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 please let a stylist go and check your skin tone. Because I promise you, you don't want to wear white and then you look like a drained ghost, or wear ivory, and you look like off, like go and let someone put the different shades in front of your face and tell you, this really lights up your face or this drained your face. You can do it yourself. You can go and take different shades of cream, white, ivory, put it under your face, and then you look in the mirror, you'll see it either lights you up or it drowns you. But if you're unsure, go and see a stylist to help you with this, right? For guys, the dark colors, the only continent that I have found in the world where white or cream is a power color for a male is in Africa, because of culture, right? So you can get, for example, a very tall Egyptian guy in white, even in the Middle East, and it will be regarded as a real big power color. Rest of the world, drop it, right? Please, guys, don't go there on stage standing in your white suit or your cream suit, whatever. You're unfortunately going to be seen as someone who sells snake oil. That's the perception. You're going to be seen as sleek, and you're going to be seen as someone who's like, like the salesman vibe, it just doesn't work, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work, especially with the Western culture, works more the African culture and with the Middle Eastern culture. Okay. So be aware of culture as well. So those are the power colors, and those are the ways you can decide how you're going to do your basic expert, how you can do your basic authority. Are you going to use a blazer? Are you going to use a structured dress with shoulder pads? I've seen a woman who was at GSS Bali 2024. Claire, are you the only one? Claire, do you remember the African woman who was speaking quite in the beginning with the white dress? She was a doctor. It was a white structured dress. I did a post not too long ago on LinkedIn about people I shared the stage with. If you want to go check it out, now there is some power styling for a female. If you don't want to do the blazer, you do the structured dresses, right? Especially if you're a little bit more glam. But on the other hand, you don't necessarily want to go to a boardroom in your structured dress. You want to do a bit more blazer, right? For the guys, you and your blazer will always give you the authority and presence that you need. If you want to do a structured dress, go for it, but then just make sure that you're aware of who's your audience, right? For example, you get in the Middle East really good structured dresses for guys, but then again, it's Middle Eastern culture, and they do that very well. And you get structured dresses for men in Scotland as well, right? With the kilt. That's the kilt is not a silk dress. It's a structured skirt. It's done well. The thing that goes over the bodice is very structured, whatever. So it depends again which culture you are addressing. Okay, so that's how you can bring structure in. Then once you've done that, then you can bring in personality, relatability, and story. That's now when you bring your essence and personality in. It's important because it's going to differentiate you. It's important because it's going to give you confidence in your own skin. And it's also important because it's part of your personal brand. But for me, what's most important, what you decide to dress that's going to make you more relatable, is that it's something that tells a story about you. So when you stand in front of the mirror, ask people, what do I want people to know about me as a person? And what do I want people to know about me in terms of the solution I'm going to provide them? So I'm going to give you an example. One of the Circle of Excellence Gold members that we work with is very, very, very skilled as a criminologist. But he's also got the brand of a rock star because he can play the guitar and he loves rock and he can sing, and so he's a musician, right? So bring criminology and rock star together in a brand. So when you look at the two, they're almost opposites to each other, but he's not any rock star. Because if you look at Mike's quite a flamboyant rock star, whereas he's more the academic rock star, if you can put it like that. So obviously we're toning his rock star a little bit down. He still has the rock jacket. He's still, we'll probably give him a structured blazer. We'll give him a nice rock star t-shirt under the blazer because he's still a rock star. A rock star is not necessarily always going to wear the shirt, but we're keeping his very expensive professor glasses on his eye, because that develops a brand for him, right? We're going to take another person. We get someone like Nadia on the school year. Nadia has been from a very young age someone who would not say no to any action adventure. Like, good luck daring her going up on Table Mountain. She's got endurance. She's got stamina. She got all the qualities of, she makes me think of a horse. No offense, Nadia, but in a beautiful, strong horse. Like, she can run. She's got the endurance. She's got the muscle. She's got the stamina. She's got the drive, the passion, the freedom. And so now you take someone like Nadia and you go, you've got all that, which makes her super competitive, but, she is still a girl and she wants to be a girl and she wants to be feminine. So you would combine a very structured blazer with something exceptionally feminine underneath that. Why? Because she's so exceptionally masculine in her endurance and how she can achieve that. We have to contrast. You see, you want to play with contrast. You want to contrast that incredible power that she brings into the world with incredible femininity. So for me personally, I would make her accessories around her neck and things much more feminine. I'll make her blouses more feminine. I'll bring in lace. I'll bring in a silk. I'll bring in maybe a scarf, I'll maybe bring in very dainty rings, whatever, to offset that horsepower, if you can call it like that. So you want to know also what you want to achieve with your styling, because it tells a very, very strong story. So let's say, for example, you're someone who helps people with health, but you really are qualified in the health space. You're really good with getting people to heal themselves, whatever. But you follow alternative modalities. Again, you can probably do something like a really structured doctor type blazer, even copy the type of blazers that you would find doctors wear on stages. You would even have something like the Asclepius on your blazer to tell people that you still are aware of the healing modalities of the Western principles of healing, but then wear something with it or underneath it that is colorful or different to tell people you think outside of the box. That's what you're telling them. You're saying, I'm not doing traditional, I'm doing outside of the box. So I don't like the white hospital vibe. I don't like the clinical approach. I don't like how sterile it is. I want to be a more relatable doctor. So now you ask yourself, what do I do to be more relatable? So in example, I believe more in the Patch Adams approach, which is we laugh, we have fun, and laughter is the best medicine, whatever. Then you almost want to take the doctor part on the outside and mix it with the colorful, relatable, fun part on the inside of your skirts or otherwise. I'm just thinking, I'm very inspired by Patch Adams, but I'm not saying if you're a doctor in wellness, you should put your red nose on. But, you can, for example, be a doctor on the top side of your body and with your pants, and then your shoes is something completely different that tells a story about you. I mean, Mike has done that very, very well. He's now made himself. You see, Mike's shoes is not just him expressing flamboyantly. His shoes is saying that I won't conform. That's what it says. So people look at his shoes on stage and I go, okay, his shoes says bold. His shoes says it's bigger than the average shoes. I want to play a bigger game. His shoes says I'm inspired by the shoes that Keith wore, and therefore I also want to wear shoes that's going to show people that I'm not fitting in the box. So, another example of this is, and you don't only have to use clothes to bring the personality out. You can use your accessories very well. In fact, you can do your entire dress or suit 100% power styling and use your accessories to bring your story and your individuality in. That is another way you can do it. So you can use jewelry, you can use belts, you can use handbags. For males or females, you can use cufflinks, you can use shoes to actually bring across that you have a story or that something is different. So in the female world, if you're a consultant and you want to show people power dressing, or you want to show them that you're doing well, a handbag plays a profound role. That is why you can buy handbags these days from fashion houses and resell it for more than what you bought it. It's basically now an investment item. It is similar to the guitars with many of the guys, or let's put it in the corporate world, for the guys, the car still play a role, profoundly so. It always shocks me actually how much it still plays a role. So if you're driving a dinky toy and you don't want to compete with the car and you're male, just go and park a long way away and then work with other power items like the watch. So the watch is still very, very relevant for the guys. The handbag still very relevant for the females. For both sexes, shoes is still a huge one. People miss that. People miss on how shoes can be a huge power statement. So, for example, if the thing that differentiates you is that you're Italian, then I would only wear Italian shoes because people comment on that. And I may even import 1 or 2 pairs from Venice. Venice is probably some of the most stunning Italian shoes I've seen in my life. And then, if you're a guy, you can also work with the Italian shoes or shoes that makes you different. You can work with glasses. I've seen a lot of people. Who of you know Ali Mooney from New Zealand? Right. She's used glasses to actually differentiate her. So she makes sure she dressed properly, but her glasses really is what differentiated her. So you see how much you can do here. You see how much you can play, but you can also see, unless you're clear on two things, you're going to struggle with what differentiate you. You have to be clear on who you are, and you have to be clear on who you're talking to. So what a lot of designers will do, or stylists, they'll only work on who you are. They don't consider your target audience. They go, let's turn you into who you are, but they completely remove power styling from you, and they completely remove your target audience from you. So what they're going to do, they're going to make sure you get a lot of compliments, but they're not necessarily going to make sure you get the deal. So the challenge here for you is to find a way where all of those boxes are ticked. The easiest way that I've been doing it is to dress in accordance with my story, dress in accordance with who I am, and have one blazer or two blazers that I always use when it comes to me wanting the deal. That has been the easiest thing for me in order to do it. Another way with blazers, if you want to really differentiate and you think, oh, the blazer, I want to be different, you can change the buttons on your blazer. You can make your buttons different. You can have embroidery on the front or back of your blazer. You can have embroidery that can stitch on and off from your blazer. So like, let's say, for example, you have one black blazer that you want to use everywhere and you're a traveler, you can actually have embroidery that you switch around and the back and forth. What we use a lot with Mike is costume jewelry. We use a lot of costume jewelry on his jacket. So we look for something that represents him. So for example, we look for something he can put on the jacket here. That's maybe a little guitar, or we put something here that's maybe, a crown, or we put something here that's a little bit rock star. And that helps as well. Now, we only have 10 minutes left. I want us to use this 10 minutes. What? I just want to see what's here in the chat, Janet. Janet says, I cannot do heels. I feel you, Janet. I feel you. Story of our lives. I want to use these 10 minutes to tell me your stories. Tell me of your stories where what you've learned about power dressing and maybe aha moments you've had when you started to change the way you dress. And maybe you've got a story of where you went and people did not take you serious because of how you were dressed. Or maybe someone saw you at the conference the previous day and treated you like a god, and then met you on the beach the next day and shoved you off like you're a, low life cockroach. Tell me a little bit about your power dressing stories that can actually serve the group here. And tell me what you do if you can't wear heels, like Janet say, and let's just have a nice conversation. I would like to hear what you have to say.
Can I jump in? And it's not so much about dressing from the outside, but dressing inside. And that's been a massive thing with Feng Shui, and looking at Feng Shui and dressing and all that work and the colors that you use. I mean, if you're going pitching, or if you're on stage, or if you're doing that red bra and red knickers, okay, bra maybe not for you gentlemen, but put the underwear is so powerful. So red socks or red tie, and put some fire in it. For me, that's just been massive, because you may just feel a little bit, you may not be able to wear red in yourself as an outside, but if you wear it inside, and the underwear side of it, for me, it's magic. Wearing
I like that idea.
It's magic.
I like that. So you're saying wear under your clothes the color and the stuff, and that actually gives you that confidence and that sort of testosterone boost that we spoke about anyway. That's smart. And I think women get the same effect with red lipstick, to be honest. Red lipstick. If you want your red, because I'm always trying to say, look, with first impressions, if you're going to be all red, and you're going to have to do a deal. You're going to come second. But if you're on stage and you want to create attraction, red is known as the most attractive color. And so if you want to not overwhelm people with your red, but you want to bring that boldness of red in, you can always put like a red handkerchief in. You can do like you, red underwear. You can have red lips. You can have, even stylish red gloves. You can definitely work on red heels, although red heels, unfortunately, send the universal message of slut. It's unfortunately in people's collective unconscious, and I try and steer away from that. Many times, when I work with, especially with a woman who's coming a bit out of the closet and now she wants to, take over the world, whatever, be careful of that, And for a guy, red shoes can be seen as clownish. Unfortunately, it's like, be careful for red on your feet, yeah. Thank you, Claire. Anyone else?
Landi, I just want to pick up on the red lipstick story,
Yes.
because it goes back to the suffragettes. It was a form of protest. It very much as you were saying, and it was also very much in the Second World War. It was a finger in the middle for Hitler, because apparently he hated red lipstick. And I found it really interesting now with the GBV marches that we've had. I don't know if you've been hearing about them in South Africa. But there was a call not just to wear the black and the purple, but for women to wear the red lipstick to continue that concept of protest, especially because it's about silencing the voice. So by wearing red lipstick, you're emphasizing the voice is not silenced. So there's so much that comes through with red lipstick.
I didn't know that. Thank you, Janet. Because fashion is not just a shallow thing. Fashion is a movement. Style is a movement. It's a way of bringing very strong messages across, and that has completely spilled into the boardroom and in the way we make money. But I don't think people bring the two things together. So there is a classic example of how makeup, fashion, style, hair, shoes, accessories. It's more about a revolt, and it's more about an expression of who you are, and of course how you can solve the problem for people than just the clothes, just vanity, if I may say. Thank you, Janet. Insightful. Anyone else?
I'll go, Landi. I think I've been doing a lot of speaking in Joburg with these incredible Black female entrepreneurs who, wow, they just dress like really, really go all out in the glam stakes. And I think I don't wear heels, so wearing like gold leather shoes brings some of that glam into it. I'm a little bit also wanting to show that I'm like a non-conformist. It's about breaking the rules, but I think bringing color in, so making sure that in those situations, that I'm wearing a black belt with a gold buckle, gold shoes, gold in my jacket, just so that that positioning is still there. And then having, a shirt or that's maybe got some color in it, or that's got its particular style. So I'll wear a lot of high neck shirts with lots of with buttons, or
Nice.
A shirt that's got pleats in it, so that it's bringing that structure, into it. So just to communicate that in ways that you've been mentioning.
Absolutely. And a huge advantage that Heather has is the what do you call that color hair? Is it white hair? Or because that creates a huge contrast. That creates a huge contrast in a charcoal or black suit. It will also create a contrast in your white and whatever, but silver, it will just pick up on it, and it gives up this Nordic vibe, which it gives you a lot of authority as well. I just want to touch on what Heather said as well, because I've done a lot of consulting in Africa, and boy, oh boy, people underestimate the African fashion. Whether I like, Janet, this is crazy, whether I like the heels or not, Heather's now found a smart way to sort of overcome that. But some of the boardroom sessions that I've had, especially in places like Mtata or whatever, where you wouldn't ever think it's an issue. Look, if you walk in there, you're not absolutely dressed up, you're actually seen as disrespectful. So and now you're not talking, you know, I don't know how many of you know the African structured dresses, but they're very structured. They even use starch to make it more structured, and then they iron it to make it more. And the hairdressers is about power and authority and to elevate yourself and to get yourself to be higher. And so, you know, then Landi Jac walk in there, you know, in my sneaker, you know, short or whatever. So you have to find, you find ways to elevate you. And I remember when me and Sophia and Paki and Dumi started working, and bye Nadia, we'll see you around. When we started to work in Mtata and some of the African countries, we had to constantly reinvent our style, and we could literally see how people are open to us and close to us based on the dress style, because there was a culture, a fashion culture in the boardroom. And the culture was, if you don't elevate yourself, because remember African culture, elevating the neck, elevating the hairdress. I mean, if you go to up into the Egypt, you have very, very tall people, right? And if you don't elevate yourself in that way, you may struggle a little bit within those boardrooms. And I think people need to be aware of this. And I think what Heather's brought to the front, I'm talking about power styling from a linear and a circular point of view, and the power colors and bringing in your personality. We have to be aware of culture, and we have to be aware of what culture see as power styling and what they don't. So anyone else with a final remark on that before we start to bring it to a close? Yes, Andrea.
One of the things that I did was I actually invested in getting a stylist coming in to get my colors. And that was probably the best thing, the best investment, was to really find out, you know, what the color palettes really look like on me, because my color skin, I can get away with pretty much wearing most colors. Well, that's what I thought. That's not quite the case. And I think as you get older as well, your color changes, your skin color changes, your hair changes, your body changes. So where before I used to have a lot of very flamboyant colors in my wardrobe, I've actually found myself moving away from having a lot of very bright and vivacious, you know, clothing. I find myself going more towards patterns, but almost floral, almost like a semi-floral, earthy tones, as I move into my sage self.
It's funny you say that, because we're experiencing the same thing with Mike, Andrea, believe it or not. He's not as much into his colors as he used to be, and he's quite fascinated by it himself, that he sort of, you know, he loves a floral shirt, and he loves his shoes and all that. But more than often we find him in the blacks and whites, you know, of course, still with a touch of this and a pop of that and a shoe or whatever, but the same thing is happening to him. And I just love how you've said, look, it may have to do with a sage stage that you're entering, and it's a more subtle wisdom type of thing. Fascinating. Thank you so much for all of your contributions and for sharing, and to be open to this information. People get super triggered when it comes to their dress style. But I think my message to you at the end of the day is, do what you want, because you're going to do what you want anyway. Just be very just be very aware of the perception and the judgment around power styling, because ultimately I do want you to get the deal, to be competitive in the boardroom, and to not unnecessarily drop money on the floor, whilst in the same way express and tell a story about yourself. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and remember, we love you very, very much. Bye.
Thanks, Landi.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Andrea. Welcome, everyone. Bye.